Hey everyone, it's Emma. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Emma. Today, as you can tell by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about my nightmare of a roommate that I had. Yeah, I'm going to be telling you guys a few stories that I don't know about you, but they really grind my gears. Everyone that I've talked to made them all really mad. I might just be being dramatic. I don't think I am. Also, it's raining, so if you can hear the rain, I'm sorry. But I always film in my room, and I just wanted to switch things up. So I'm in my car, and it started raining. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. I have 7 little stories that I'll be telling you. And these are just a few of them. So 7 being just a few of them is nuts. That's that. Let's get into the video. I hope you all enjoy. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, go follow me on all my social media, all that good kind of stuff. You'll want to subscribe because I'm going to be moving soon. If you didn't watch my last video, make sure you go watch that. I explain all of that. But I'm going to be moving soon, and so I'll have lots of packing vlogs, moving in vlogs, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be super exciting. Let's go ahead and get into the video. So, I live in an apartment with 3 other girls. Whenever I first moved in, there was just 2 other girls. We didn't have a 3rd roommate. But whenever I very first moved in last July, it was just me and 1 other girl for a little while. Because the other roommate was still living back home. She hadn't moved back in yet. Like, all her stuff was still there because she lived there the year prior, but she wasn't there yet. And then we just didn't have a 4th roommate. So it was just me and this 1 girl. If you know me, if you watch my videos, you're gonna know who I'm talking about, but I'm not gonna say her name. I'll make up a name for her. We'll call her, I can't think of a good name. We'll call her Karen. She was the Karen of the apartment, but we're gonna call her Karen. Okay, so me, Karen, we're the only 2 that live there right now. July of 2020. I moved into this apartment because of her. Like, we were really good friends before we moved in. We didn't go to the same high school. We only went to the same church. That's how we, like, knew each other. We didn't really hang out outside of church. We did a little bit, but not, like, super often. So we were like, really close friends, but not close friends that hang out all the time, if that makes sense. But I moved in because of her, because I wanted to live with her. So I move in, and everything's fine. We like get in a good schedule. I had started cosmetology school, so Mondays from 8 in the morning to noon, I would have class. And then the rest of the week, I was completely free. I hadn't found a job yet, so I was completely free for the rest of the week. And so, like, whenever I came back from class, we would, like, go on a walk, and then we would make dinner, and, like, I don't know. We just got along really well. But then eventually, I'm the type of person who, like, really likes my alone time, and she's not. She loves being with people, which is totally fine, but I respected that, and I did stuff with her whenever she, like, absolutely wanted to, but she, like, would get angry at me whenever I wanted to just have my alone time. And she's the type of person who pouts. If you are above the age of 8 and you're still pouting about things, get over yourself, grow up. That's all I have to say about that. So if I didn't want to go on a walk, or if I wanted to, like, lay in my bed by myself for a little while, she would, like, throw a fit and pout and go in her room, and then she'd get over it after, like, an hour. We were, like, still fine. Eventually, our 3rd roommate moved in. Everything was good for a really long time, and then this is where it all started. She got a dog. It's a little corgi, so cute, but she wasn't the best at training it. So I'm just gonna insert a video of what I came home to one day. Also, side note, that was after I had already cleaned up a ton of fuzz that he ripped out of a couple of the toys, so it was even dirtier than that. And to add to it, our apartment complex didn't even know that she had that dog, and you're supposed to be paying a pet fee. So, I love animals. Yeah, I don't think anybody would be very happy if they came home to that. And it wasn't just that day. That was the worst it got, but it wasn't just that day. It was every day whenever this dog was a puppy. I came home and I saw poop and pee everywhere and things torn up and the trash out of the trash can, and I was like, I had just gotten home from class, a really long day. I was so mad, but I wasn't about to just walk around and live in this filth hole. So I cleaned some of it up, and then I texted her, and I've sent her a video, and I was like, clean up after your dog, or lock your dog in your room while you're gone, because I'm not going to be coming home to this every day. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, she always apologized for it, but it was just still very frustrating because I'm not really a pet person anyways. Like, I didn't sign up to have a pet. You signed up to have a pet, so like don't put the burden on all of us, especially when you're in an apartment with other people. So after that, she started putting the dog in her room while she was gone for school. It sucks because I shouldn't have a dislike toward the dog because of what she did, but I do. Like, that dog was annoying. She would just like rather let it pee or poop on the floor than take it downstairs a majority of the time, especially when it was a puppy. If it did pee or poop on the floor, she wouldn't like get spray it and clean it. She would just like wipe it up. Gross. But yeah, so that dog is where it all started. She was also the type of person who, she would only be happy for you if it benefited her also. So like, we both have a YouTube channel, and like whenever I hit 1,000 subscribers, she wasn't like, oh my gosh, congratulations, I'm so happy for you. She was like,
well, why haven't I gained any more subscribers?
Like whenever I got a camera, she was like,
I want a camera so bad. Like, you have a camera.
like she would just get jealous. Like, she was very jealous. And same way with like friends. If I went and hung out with other people and I wasn't her best friend, like her only best friend, she would like get mad at me and once again pout. So my other friend that you guys probably know, Emily, she's one of my roommates now. She ended up being our 4th roommate. But Emily moved to town. We went to high school together, and so we became like really good friends. We were pretty good friends in high school, but not like the best of friends. But when she moved to Pitt, we became like really best friends. So we started hanging out a lot, and we would invite Karen, and like it sounds really weird saying her name. That's not her name. I almost said her name. We would invite her to go do stuff with us and all that kind of stuff, but she just never wanted to spend money. And it's not like we were spending a ton of money every time we went out. We would like go get dinner, or like even if we didn't want to go like pay a lot for dinner, we would go to like Burger King, and their chicken nuggets are literally $1. So we would go do that. We would drive around, we would go out, we would go to parties, all that kind of stuff. And Karen would just get jealous, and if we were at a party and she didn't want to be there anymore, she would just leave us there. Like one time I was just left at a party because she didn't want to come back and pick me up. So I had to find a new ride home. One time Emily and I were like, hey, do you want to go get dinner with us? And she was like, why do you guys always have to spend money? And I was like, you could have just said no. Like, don't be rude about it. She just doesn't get common courtesy. She's just a very selfish person. So she really only cares about herself. I was on my way back from Morgan's baby shower with my mom, and I was on Instagram, and I saw someone make a post, and she was in it. So I clicked on her Instagram, and I looked at her following, and it showed that she wasn't following me. I was like, that's weird, so I unfollowed her. And then I looked at Twitter, and she unfollowed me, so I unfollowed her. I looked at Snapchat, she unadded me, so I unadded her. I was like, what the heck? We were supposed to be going to a Justin Bieber concert in June together. I had already paid for my ticket. I still haven't gotten that money back. So I texted her, and I was like, hey, I see you unfollowed me on everything. If you could find someone to sell that ticket to, or like get a refund, that'd be awesome, because I don't think either of us really want to go to the concert with each other anymore. Because like, we hadn't really like had a big blow up or like had a fight like verbally in real life. Like, she just unfollowed me on everything. It was really random. She obviously didn't really want to be my friend anymore, so I told her, I was like, hey, I just want that money back. Like, I don't want to go to the concert with you anymore, and it looks like you don't want to go with me anymore either. So this is probably the best case scenario. And she was like, she said, okay, haha. Like, it was funny. I was like, she said, I'll see if someone else wants to buy it. And I was like, okay, sweet. We don't talk anymore, so I'm never getting that money back. It was like $75, which is a lot, but I'm not gonna like fight with her about it to try to get it back. So I'm just out $75, which is fine. She has an extra ticket to a concert or something, I don't know. And then after that, a few months later, Emily, the one that's living with us now, she needed a place to live. So me and our other roommate, Emma, so there's me, Emma, Emily, and Karen. Emma and me and Karen all agreed that Emily could move in with us into our 4th room. Karen had moved, she had this, so there's a room right here, a room across the hall, one right off of the living room, which is mine. This one's Emma's, this one was Karen's, and then this one was our empty one. And it was supposed to be locked, but it wasn't locked. And so one day Karen just decided to move her whole room across the apartment into the new room that's supposed to be locked. And so I came home one day and all of her stuff was just in the living room. She was moving it to the other room. And so whenever Emily wanted to move in, like, we had to inform the office that Karen moved her stuff into the other room because Emily would be in this room and she didn't want any of the damages that Karen had caused to get charged onto her. So we told them, and then she got charged a $50 fee because you're not supposed to move rooms without telling the office, and we all knew that. It was in our lease. She did it anyways, and she was very upset about that. But Emily moves in, and Karen is not very happy about it. A, because she had to pay that $50 fee because the office found out about her being in the room she wasn't supposed to be in. And B, because she had 2 shelves in our pantry, a shelf and a half, basically, to herself in. She was upset that she had to move some of her things around in the pantry and the fridge so Emily could bring her stuff over. Which I had 1 shelf in the pantry, the tallest shelf, even though I was the shortest in the house. I had a shelf in the fridge and a drawer. Karen would get upset about having to move her stuff, but she wouldn't confront me about it. She never confronted me about anything. Anything she had a problem with, she would never come confront me, which is weird because we used to be friends. She would tell her other roommates, and then they would tell me what was happening. She would be like,
well, I'm not moving any of my stuff out of the pantry or the fridge because I lived here first. If anyone's moving anything, it's gonna be Emma.
Talking about me because I moved in last out of the 3 of us. Which, you can't pull rank at a place that you live. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but that's how it makes sense to me. Like, I live there. That's my place that I live at. It's not like a workplace where you can pull rank because you've worked there longer and you're more knowledgeable. No, we all live there. We all pay the same amount of rent. Like, you can't pull rank. That's not how that works. So I moved her stuff around in the pantry for her because she wasn't doing it herself and Emily needed places to put her food. And she never said a single thing about it to me, so it would have probably just been easier if she would have done it herself. I was like, what do you want me to do? Have half a shelf? I can't put all my food on half a shelf and you get 2 shelves. Thank you very much. The next incident that I'm going to tell you about is, it gets worse as we go on, honestly. Karen likes to, I don't think I should be putting this on YouTube. Karen likes to partake in things that we don't like to partake in. And she was partaking in them in our apartment. And we were not very happy about it. So I'm in the apartment one day and I'm going down to the gym and Karen has a friend over and they're partaking in the thing that we don't like together. So I texted my other roommates. I was like, hey, just to let you know, they're doing this and like the apartment does not smell the best. So they texted me back and they're like, heck no, that can't happen. We don't like that. So I go back up and it still smells awful. My roommates come home and it still smells awful and they're so mad. So none of us say anything about it that night because she's a friend over and none of us wanted to make a scene. So that next morning, Emma says something and she's just like, hey, please don't do that anymore. Like, all 4 of us have to go to work in like professional places and we don't want to go smelling like that. And so please just like don't do it in the apartment anymore. She was very nice about it. And Karen looks at her and she's like, well, it's a good thing you don't have to live with me for much longer because she's moving out. And Emma's like, no, that's not what I meant. Like, I didn't mean it in a bad way at all. And Karen looks at her and she's like, well, you don't have to be such about it, and calls her the B word and slams the front door in her face. And I was like, when Emma told me this, I was fuming. I was like, oh, if she would have done that to me, we would have had a full-out brawl right then and there. Like, so rude and inconsiderate. Like, if we're asking you politely not to do something that we don't like where we all 4 live, like, just say okay and don't do it. There's so many other places that you could go. So that was the first instance. And then it happens again. So I leave the apartment to go back home and I'm smelling it again as I'm leaving. So I text my roommates and I'm like, hey, it happened again. And they're all like, heck no. I was like, I can text her if you guys want me to, just so someone will say something. And they were like, yes, please. So I text her and I'm like, hey, just to let you know, like, it smells in there again. Please quit doing that. We're all not very happy about it, blah, blah, blah. She texts me back. She, like, makes up excuses, blah, blah, blah. This long excuse of a text. And I was just like, whatever. And then she's like, and I would appreciate it if one of you would come to me first without going and talking behind my back to each other. And I was like, we weren't talking behind your back about you. I texted them and asked if they wanted me to say something. Like, that's literally all it was. We weren't like, oh my gosh, Karen's so annoying. Why does she do this? No. Then, while I'm gone, I wish this would have happened while I was there because I would have popped off. But while I'm gone, Emily and Karen get into a huge fight, like a screaming fight. And I so badly wish I was there because Karen would never do this in front of me. Every time there was an opportunity for us to get into like a verbal argument or something, she would be scared and back down. And I was like, bro, I'm ready to yell at you. Please say something. But no, every time I was home, nothing ever happened. And so I was gone, and Emily and her get into a huge fight. And Emily tells me about it, and I was like, bro, why couldn't I have been there? Once again, Karen calls Emily the B word. Rude. That's the second roommate of our house that she has called the B word. Would never call me that. You would never catch Karen calling me that. Because, not saying that I'm going to throw hands or anything, because I'm not going to. My face is too pretty to fight. Because I don't want to get punched in my face. And that would hurt. I don't like pain. I don't want to get in a fight. I don't want to fight her. But like, I wanted to yell at her. And that never happened. But, so they get into that huge fight, and I come back, and we don't really have a problem with it again, except for one more time, but nobody said anything about it that time because she was getting ready to move out, and we didn't want to deal with it. So yeah, she was just very, once again, like I said, inconsiderate and selfish and rude about that whole situation also. So, like I said, she was moving out soon. So she moved out this last month, May, recently, like a week or two ago. For the month of March, April, and May, maybe even before that, she would slowly pack all of her things in boxes and sit them out in our kitchen because she wanted to be ready. Can you not be ready in your own room? That doesn't make any sense to me. She had the room that felt the biggest out of all the rooms. They're all technically the same square footage, but she had a hallway leading into hers. So she had the room that felt the biggest. You could have kept your boxes in your own room instead of taking up our whole living room with boxes, because that's our living room. But literally, by the time she moved, her whole entire room was out in our living room. Like, she had 2 blanket ladders, she had 2 TVs, she had like a little desk thing, she had this thing that went over your toilet to store stuff, she had so many boxes, she had multiple like Rubbermaid containers, like big rubber containers to store stuff in, like so much stuff that was just out in our living room. And it made the room, our apartment already doesn't feel very homey. It feels very set up. It feels like a hotel. And she just made it like feel even less homey because there were boxes just sitting in our living room. So I like let it go. I never said anything about it. I mean, it was really annoying, but I never said anything about it. Then there's still more stories, guys. I come home from class one day, and I go in my room, and I see a piece of paper on my pillow, sat on my pillow, that is like, attention residents of so-and-so apartment. It's come to our attention that there's a trash bag that's been outside of your apartment for an extended period of time, and that's against your lease. If it doesn't get taken care of by tomorrow morning, you will all have a $25 fee, like $100 per apartment. Thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. So, Emily's home, so I go and ask Emily, I'm like, who put this on my pillow? Because I know that we all didn't get one. I know they just stuck it on our front door. I was like, who went in my room and put this on my pillow? And she was like, Karen. And I was like, of course it was Karen. Of course it was Karen. And so, Karen wasn't home, or I would have said something, but I texted her, and I was like, I was not very nice, because I was over it at this point. First of all, going in my room while I'm not home, I would never just go in her room while she's not home. That's your own private space. Like, once again, rude and inconsiderate. I texted her, I was like, hey, I'm not sure why you're going in my room while I'm not home, but please stay out of my room while I'm not there. Second of all, I don't know why you're putting a piece of paper on my pillow that pertains to all of us, because that's not just my trash that's out there. I'm more than happy to pay the $25 fee, so if you're not, I was very petty about this whole situation because I was so over it. I was like, I'm more than happy to pay the $25 fee. If you're not, then you can take care of the trash out there, but I'm not the one who put it outside, so whoever did that can take care of it. And then I texted her and said, please quit putting your stuff in our living room. I may have said some few choice words, but I'm not going to say them on my YouTube channel. I was not very nice. And so she texted me back and she was like, I wasn't trying to be rude. And I was like, I said, well, you were. It was. And she was like, well, none of us were here that weekend that you filled up a trash bag with food from the freezer. I filled up the trash bag with food from the freezer because it was all expired. Half of it was hers that was expired. And I couldn't fit any more of my stuff that I needed to go get grocery shopping in the freezer. So someone had to throw it out at some point. She was like, well, I wasn't here. None of us were here the weekend that you threw away stuff from the freezer. So I didn't think that it was my responsibility to throw it away. And I was like, well, I'm not the one that put it outside, so I'm not going to take care of it. If they would have kept it like in the apartment, I would have eventually thrown it away because I filled up the bag. But I'm not the one that sat it out on our front porch. Why would you do that? Like, take it down to the dumpster. So I was like, I'm not the one that sat it out on our front porch. So whoever did that can take care of it. And she said, okay, LOL. Or she said, K, LOL. Emily's boyfriend, Cal, took that down for us, so that was very nice of him. I was like, you have the audacity to go in my room, act like this trash is my responsibility, even though all 4 of us live here. Rude and inconsiderate once again. This last story is, if she wouldn't have been moving out, we would have had some issues, even more issues than we already did. She moves out on a Friday. I was getting ready to go home, like back to my parents' house. First of all, she wakes me up at 8 in the morning screaming bloody murder. I don't know if you guys have ever woken up and your stomach immediately drops because you think something's wrong, but that's what happened. Like, I woke up, my stomach dropped because I thought someone was literally dead. Like, I thought someone was murdered, got killed, like died. I don't know. Like, I thought like someone broken. I don't know what I thought was happening, but I literally felt sick to my stomach because I thought something was happening. Because she was screaming bloody murder. But no, the 2 people that she's moving in with arrived at our apartment. And that's why she was screaming bloody murder. Because they surprised her. I guess they said that they weren't going to be there for a little while or something. I don't know. I could hear them talking about it. But she was screaming bloody murder because they had got there and she was excited. It wakes me up at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Friday because she's excited. So I was very upset about that just to start off the day. So I fell back asleep. I wake up, it's like 11 and I was like, oh, surely some of her stuff is out. I walk out of my room. No, all of her stuff is still in our living room. So I made breakfast. I did all the dishes. I cleaned all the countertops. I cleaned the stovetop. I swept and Swiffered the floor. I cleaned the whole kitchen because it was a pigsty. I just didn't do the last few dishes that I had used to make food, and one of them happened to be her pans, so we'll get back to that in a second. But the whole kitchen was a pigsty, so I cleaned the whole entire thing. And I go back in my room and I'm editing a video and I hear them walk in, and Karen goes over to the sink and sees that her pan is in the sink, used, not clean. And she starts yelling so that I can hear her from my room.
And she's like, well, you would think that you would clean your dishes after you use them like a considerate human being would whenever they live in an apartment with someone else.
And she just keeps going on and on and on. She's like a considerate human being when they live in an apartment with someone else. She just kept saying that and saying that. And I was like, I was in my bed like, a considerate human being? You have no room to talk. Oh, I was so mad. So I FaceTime my mom and I'm fuming. And I tell her what's going on. And I come to find out that one of the people that she's moving in with ear up to my door and was listening to my conversation with my mom. And I was like going off. And Karen suddenly shuts up. How funny is that? Because she didn't want me to come out there and say anything to her face, because if her 2 friends that were moving in wouldn't have been there, she would have never said that. She would have never said that because she knows that I would have came out and said something. But I was like laying in my bed editing and I was comfy and I didn't want to get up. If she would have kept going on and on, I would have gotten up and said something, because if she has a problem, she can come talk to me like an adult. But she's a child, so she didn't. But yeah, once her friend heard me talking through my door to my mom, she shut up. So she must have been like scared or something. I don't know. I was so mad. I was like, a considerate human being. Do you even know what that is? Do you even know what that is? I don't think you do. So, moral of the story is, don't be an awful roommate. Now you know what an inconsiderate human being does whenever they live with other people. So if you think you're gonna do those things, don't live with other people, please. Do them a favor and don't live with roommates. Live by yourself. It definitely made for an interesting year staying at these apartments. I was definitely glad to see her leave. She was over there and whenever she was out in the kitchen, she was like, I can't wait to move out. And I wanted to open the door and be like, I will help you. None of your boxes are gone yet. Would you like help to move these down to your car? Because I want you gone too. Do you want help with your boxes? No? Get out. Thank you very much. That is the end of this story. I know it was a lot because that was just like the main stories that I could think of. There were other things that happened that played into all of this leading up, but those were just the main stories that really grinded my gears. But yeah, comment down below if you guys had any roommate horror stories when you were in college or whatever. Anytime you ever had roommates, maybe at like a camp or something like that. I don't know. Comment down below. Like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Follow me on all my social media. Turn on all my post notifications because I am moving. So I'll have lots of fun videos up for you guys about that. I love you all so much. Thank you so much if you stuck around till the end of this video. If you did, comment one of the pink heart emojis for my hair. Or the green for my shirt. But yeah. I love you all so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye.